What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode 178. And we start today's episode off with transfer deadline day, and we're finishing today's episode off with transfer deadline day. Yep, today's episode of Career Mode is a transfer special. And as we warm up to my Football Manager series, the transfer special episodes always seem to get the most love. So I guess this is a rehearsal, if you will, for the FM save starting next weekend. Yep, it's a transfer special today. No games today, but so much drama with what is an extraordinary transfer deadline day. Look forward to it, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. So we start the episode off by taking a look at our budget with 10 hours remaining on the clock. And after the signings of Rodrigo and Jonathan David in the last episode as our replacements for Kai Havertz and Leon Bailey, we still had over £80 million remaining in our transfer budget. And I still wanted to make 2 or 3 signings on deadline day. And I wouldn't have minded a new cam to come in alongside Jonathan David as well. As we've seen this season, Barry Walsh has had his injury. And, you know, Kurzweg's a decent replacement, but someone with a bit more quality wouldn't be a bad option. I was thinking perhaps we go for the jugular on deadline day and go after Leroy Sané, 90 rated German playing for Manchester City. We could probably just about afford to get him, and his amazingly big contract as well. However, he is now 31 years old and due to decline in stats anytime soon. But I thought, why don't we go after a backup striker here at Leverkusen? On many occasions this season, goals have been a problem for us and we've only been able to scrape our wins by a single goal. Why don't we go after a new backup striker? Because Tony, of course, as we know, now 30 years old, he might still be our top scorer in the team, and of course Zabala, the young lad, the young Uruguayan, has a lot of promise as well, but we need someone more consistent and more reliable off the bench. Zabala's goal to game ratio is not that high, and Jan Fiet Arp is one of the top scorers in the Bundesliga right now with 9 goals in 19 games for Stuttgart. We agree a £42.5 million move for the guy, and the 27-year-old swaps the Mercedes-Benz Arena for the Buy Arena. Arp is in for 42.5 mil, 27 years old, so still got a few years to go before he starts to show signs of decline, and as a backup replacement for Ivan Toney, I'm very happy about this, because, you know, Zabala's done alright this season, 5 in 17, but that's less than 1 in 3, whereas Arp's 9 in 19 in the Bundesliga is just under 1 in every 2. He's 4 ratings higher than Zabala, and let's be honest here, if Toney was to go down and get injured for the remainder of the season, would I feel especially confident having Zabala leading our line, being our sole and only striker for the rest of the season? I'm not too sure about that, whereas Arp is the same rating, 3 years younger, he's very quick, he's a good dribbler, and as we've seen the Bundesliga this season, 9 goals in 19 games, he knows how to score goals as well. So Arp is in for 42.5 mil, and this is Zabala's the future, but we want someone here in the present that we know, if worse comes to worse and Tony gets a serious injury, like he broke his toe in the World Cup with England, we'll have someone to step in and still be a reliable and consistent source of goals. I don't want to put that much pressure on the kid on his first season here at the Buy Arena. Still, following the signing, we still had loads of money left over. It was just 42.5 mil to get Arp in. Still over £40 million remaining in our transfer budget on transfer deadline day. And I wanted a new centre-back here as well, because after selling Jorge Mera, we've replaced him with Malang Sarr, who does look pretty good to begin with. But on the bench, we've got Schwartz, the young man. We've got Temp in the reserves as well. But that's the only other 2 centre-halves we've got outside of our starting 3. And I thought we could do with a bit more experience here at Bayer Leverkusen. We've got such a youthful side. I thought someone in their late 20s to early 30s as part of our back line, as Sarr is our oldest centre-back at just 27 years old, would come in handy. So I thought about 2 options here in particular. Demiral of Spurs, who we were considering before we opted to go with Malang Sarr. Jonathan Tah, who I really wanted to bring back to the Bayer Arena, now at Borussia Dortmund, but a little bit over our valuation. And a couple of other names as well, including Raphael Varane. Can you imagine all the jewels he and Ivan Toney have had over the years? Varane now becoming a friend of Ivan Toney? I couldn't see it happening. I'm sure there'd be a rift in the dressing room, so I decided to leave Raphael at Wolfsburg. We agreed to deal with Spurs of £30 million plus a 10% sell-on clause for the Turkish centre-half Demiral, of course formerly of Juventus. And I also decided to inquire about Schalke's centre-half Tomiyasu, a Japanese defender that can also play right back as well. He's 28 years old, 84 rated, and we agreed a deal with Schalke which was under what we would be paying for Demiral. Now, Tomiyasu is one rating lower than Demiral, but they are the same age. Tomiyasu is actually a little bit younger than Demiral, but they're the same age right now. But Tomiyasu's got medium-high work rates, a 5-star weak foot, 6'2", and when you compare the two stats here, Demiral seems like the better defender, but Tomiyasu seems a bit more comfortable on the ball, and also has a little bit more athleticism as well. And of course, alongside Aya and Leandro as part of our back three, I wanted someone that's quite comfortable bringing the ball out of the back and offloading it to our midfield four, and I think Tomiyasu could definitely do that role as more of our ball-playing centre-half as part of our back three on the left-hand side with a 5-star weak foot as well, lest we forget. So Tomiyasu is in, he was cheaper, his wages are a lot cheaper than Demiral. It's only 46 grand a week for Tomiyasu. Demiral doing about 140 grand a week, so we save a lot of money by bringing in the Japanese defender, and I must say I'm very excited for him. I've never used him before, I'm not sure I'll ever use him again, but Tomiyasu is in, and as part of our back three, I think we will keep Sa in our back three to begin with, and Tomiyasu coming off the bench. But again, I really like his stats. Medium-high work rates, 5-star weak foot, looks comfortable on the ball, bringing it out from the back, and he's quick. He's physical, and he's a decent defender as well. And he's 6'2", so he's not a small lad either. So, yeah, I think Sa will continue to start in the team, but Tomiyasu as a backup centre-half, I think we made the right choice there, and I'm very excited to use him this season. Still, following those two signings, there was still around £18 million remaining in our transfer budget, and we hadn't advanced a single hour on transfer deadline day at this point. So I thought, why don't we keep the signings coming here and pick up another name as I look to fill out my Bayer Leverkusen side, because, of course, right now, the only area of concern, you would say, with our Leverkusen side is we don't have much squad depth. We've got a great first 11 and a superb bench as well, but outside of that, there's very little depth here to the team, and I wanted some good young talents to come in on deadline day, including this guy who we signed from West Ham, Philipp Hoffmann, a left back that can also play left wing back. He's a right-footed player, but does have a 4-star weak foot. He's only 20 years old, but already 69 rated. Unfortunately, he's got no potential tag whatsoever, but I can only imagine it's in the high 70s or perhaps 80. But he's got low-high work rates, he's very quick and has good stamina, and 77 crossing and 75 ball control as well, and with low-high work rates too. I like that signing there. So whilst he's got no potential tag whatsoever, I think as a squad player, he's pretty decent. We don't really have a left-sided player now to play in the absence of Ollie Shaw. Normally, I just stick Chiesa there or foreign back, but now we have someone, a good young 20-year-old coming in from West Ham. And following that, I also went after a new cam as well, and there were two on my shortlist here that I was really interested in. I've been scouting this guy since the start of the season. You got Lars from Crystal Palace and Simon Ayoha of Newcastle United. Now, both cams look absolutely fantastic, and this was really interesting. The chief exec suggested to me we could get Simon on a really cheap deal. He's valued at 15.5 mil. We could possibly get him for around 5 to 10. So I offered 6 million as a base deal, and the Newcastle United chief exec just walked out of the office, and I was like, oh man, I've just been fed some misinformation here. I was told I could get him for around 6 million. Clearly, I offended him. So he walked out the door. Kind of annoying as well, because I really wanted Simon. He looked very good indeed. But in the end, we had to settle for Lars, who is 4 ratings lower than Simon Ayoha. However, he is only 19 years old and 3 years younger. So he's a teenage talent, this kid. 75 rated. We agree a £10 million deal with Roy Hodgson, plus a 2% sell-on clause, as he agrees a 5-year, £25,000 a week contract, and it might well be a blessing in disguise we pissed off the Newcastle United chief exec, because this kid's got the exciting prospect tag. So he's got high 80 potentials. Cam, LM and ST are his listed positions with high medium work rates. He's absolutely rapid and physically good all round with some great technical stats as well. 3-star skill moves, only a 2-star weak foot, but as a talent for the future, he looks very good indeed. So Lars comes in, and we've seen how good Kurzweg's been this season. We've got another really good young cam here at Bayer Leverkusen. Still, following that signing, I didn't plan to do much else on transfer deadline day, but as I advanced 6 hours on the clock, we saw with 4 hours remaining, we had a huge huge, absolutely huge transfer offer coming in for one of our highest rated players as Real Madrid, who we've taken Rodrigo from. They've taken Kai from us, wanted to also take Federico Chiesa to the Bernabeu as well. They put in a bid of £54.5 million, and I said to Real Madrid, I want around 70 mil. They rejected my first counter offer, but after I then asked for 67.5 mil and took 2.5 mil off the transfer fee, Zinedine Zidane said, yes, this is the guy I want. We will meet that counter offer. £67.5 million. The fee agreed with Zidane and Real Madrid for the 87 rated Italian Federico Chiesa, as one of our former career mode teams, then put in a bid here for Diego of 53.8 mil. There was only 3 hours on the clock though, so I said to Roma, appreciate the offer boys, it's a good one too, but there's not enough time for us to get the paperwork sorted and for me to find a replacement as well. So as much as we still love you, Diego's going to stay here. But as the hours were coming down with just 1 hour remaining on the clock, we did see confirmation that Federico Chiesa in the final hour of transfer deadline day put pen to paper at Real Madrid for £67.5 million. Kai Havertz joined up there, but Zidane wanted a friend for him to play with, and Chiesa has joined Kai Havertz at Real Madrid. The business we've done with Real Madrid in this window is just absurd. Chiesa and Kai off to the Bernabeu, and of course Rodrigo is here at the Bay Arena. So after the sale of Chiesa for £67.5 million, we had enough money to bring in a replacement on the 11th hour of transfer deadline day, and there was only one man I wanted to sign in his place. We tried to get him a couple of weeks ago. Manchester United would not negotiate with us, but this time I said, you know what? Whatever it takes, Manchester United. Whatever it takes, Ed Woodward. You can take every single penny out of this club if you want. I want to have this guy at the Bay Arena. Arnie Meyer, now playing for the Red Devils. We give them £58 million plus a 25% sell-on clause as well. But to be honest, at 28 years old, he's not going to get any better. We're not going to sell him in the remainder of his prime years, and we probably won't sell him at all, to be honest. So that 25% sell-on clause really is kind of negated and kind of pointless. But we agreed a 4-year deal, £170,000 a week, and I was saying to Arnie, put the fork down, mate. It's not time for dinner just yet. Sign the contract first, then we'll have dinner. We not got enough time to wait for the starter. Just sign the bloody contract. The time's almost up. But Arnie does agree a 4-year deal on £170,000 a week for £58 million and replaces Federico Chiesa in our team. And they're totally different players as well. Chiesa is either a right-sided player or a cam/centre forward in this team, whereas Arnie is a more defence-minded player. But the reason I opted to go for a different type of role here in this team is because we've already seen this season how good Kurzweig is. We've signed Jonathan David. Barry Walsh, lest we forget, is injured. And Diego's been really good this season, but primarily when he's been playing and operating on the offensive end. And Diego would rather play in the cam role than CM role anyway. So what I'm going to do is start Arnie as part of our midfield 4, and when I want to use Diego, he'll start in the cam role and not the central midfield role, because he looks better when pushed further forward and getting more involved in our build-up as opposed to being a deep line playmaker, which is where Arnie's role will be. So Arnie comes in, he replaces Federico Chiesa just in the nick of time as we wrap up what was an extraordinary transfer deadline day. 5 new signings coming in to the Bay Arena, but I've got to say, I am so happy with the business we did on transfer deadline day. And it was an amazing January window as well. You know, we were the club at the centre of everything, it seemed, on deadline day. Leon Bailey going to Manchester City for 85 mil. Kai going to Real Madrid for £133.6 million. Chiesa going to Real for £67.5 million. Yes, we've lost a captain and 2 really high-rated players as well. However, when you look at the signings we've picked up on transfer deadline day, Maya, Hoffman the Kid, Lars, Tommy Yasu, and Arp as well, I actually think personally we've come off better here. Yes, we're going to miss Kai. I'm gutted the captain is gone. We can't keep living in the past. He's gone. He wanted to go to the Bernabeu. Forget him. He's gone to Real Madrid, and we can now begin a new era here at the Bayern Arena with all the signings we've picked up to replace Kai, Leon, and Federico. I have to say, I really like the look of this team now. I think it looks absolutely superb. I would prefer to have kept Kai here, but after selling Leon and Federico for those big transfer fees, I have to say, I think this team looks better. I really do. Even without Kai, even without Leon, even without Federico, I think this team actually looks better. So transfer deadline day is over. The window slams shut. It was an extraordinary transfer deadline day, but it was only fitting after a hectic January transfer window. And as we now into February with some huge games to come, the DFB Pokal quarter-final first, then top of the table, Bayern Munich away. Both games coming in the very next episode. Look forward to it. It's going to be a thriller. We've also got the first leg against Bilbao in the Champions League round of 16, and two huge games in the Bundesliga away against Hamburg and Schalke as well. We need our new signings to hit the ground running if we're to keep our treble dreams alive here at the Bayern Arena. But that was today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So a big thank you for watching. I really hope you have enjoyed today's transfer special. If you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode soon, which you won't want to miss. It's the DFB Pokal quarter-final and Bayern Munich away very soon.